All right, you ready?
Wait, how do I look? I'm okay?
You look marvelous.
Nobody remembers that.
Don't panic. For the next hour, let Steve and Paul talk you down from that ledge. They're the host who won't cop out when there's panic all about.
Welcome to the Don't Panic Radio Show. I'm Steve Benson. That's Paul Schultz, and nothing you are about to hear is true. Hey,
Hold on. I'm enjoying the theme song.
Walk on, niggas, walk on. Good song.
Walk on,
Nice job. So the weather here is frightful. The crazy thing is, we went, and this will date the show a little bit, but we went from 70s and sunny and chirping birds and budding trees and couples falling in love and that kind of thing, to now people are seeing snow flurries. And
you're getting snow flurries?
Yeah, there was a guy reported on the news here in town. He's one of those guys that leaves his Christmas decorations up too late, and apparently he was out taking them down, and he sees these snow flurries, and he just put them back up and went back in the house. It's like, I don't blame him. I thought about getting mine back out.
Well, a couple of years ago, you would have fit right in. Your tree was still up this time of year. A couple of years.
That's true.
Yeah,
I did have the Facebook memories coming back up. I was making soup with Christmas leftovers, and I said, this is the last, and this was 2014 or 2013. I was like, this is the last of the Christmas leftovers. I'm finally getting rid of them. Maybe I'll take the tree down next. And it was March 18th.
So the Bumpus Hounds didn't get in your house and eat your Christmas turkey?
No, they did not. I can make some bird. I can make a bird, man, and it tastes heavenly. It's great.
I bet it does, man.
And if I were a stay-at-home dad, I probably wouldn't have time to do this. But if I had time, I'd be making turkeys and chickens and pot roasts and barbecue and all kinds of stuff. I remember when I was out of work for a month or two. Well, I was partly out of work last year. Just before this time. I was just every day, man. I was making these glorious dinner. I was making Sunday dinner every day of the week. I was like, today Sunday? No. Well, too bad. I'm making another big chicken pot.
Well, it's spring break over here, and my kids' brother spent a couple nights with us, and we were sitting at the supper table the other night, and he's just like, "Oh, real food," because it was all crock pot, and it was delicious, and he was just eating it up. It's like, yeah, that's how we roll around here.
What does he get at home?
Jimmy John's.
Oh.
His dad's not exactly a chef. We'll just leave it at that.
Well, I ain't gonna lie. We don't eat some kind of gourmet shit every night here at the Vincent household, but most nights we do okay. As I know you do at your household, from what I hear.
I still post pictures of food on Facebook.
I do. I like posting pictures of food, and I like seeing other people's pictures of food. Some people do cats and pets and shit like that, and that's fine. But I like to see people's pictures of their food, because the cameras we have nowadays are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't do this back in the day, because who wants to see some yellowed out, titty version of a meatloaf?
I come over to your house, you're like, "Hey, Paul, I had this yesterday." Here's a picture, a grainy photograph of meatloaf. It's like, I had this the day before. Oh, it's fried chicken. You have a photo album of food. We wouldn't. That's the thing. We wouldn't do that. when we were kids,
No.
Your mom wouldn't have made but she should have because she's a hell of a cook. But she didn't have like a photo album. Well, we had this yesterday. We had this pot roast last week, and this was our Easter meal. But now because of the social media being what it is, food is what we take pictures of.
So I have two thoughts, and one is just to correct a technical thing. And this is coming from our producers. They just wanted to point out that back in the day, it wouldn't have been this is what we had for dinner yesterday. It would have been this is what we had for dinner 2 weeks ago, and then we took the film into Walgreens or to Harvey's 5 and Dime, and we had it developed.
That's true.
And it finally came back, and then somebody finally remembered to go pick it up, bring it home, and now here's a picture of it.
Well, now, but in my defense, though, when we were in high school, they had like 1 hour photo.
You're getting a little defensive.
Sorry.
Literally. So the second thing I wanted to point out is you're absolutely right. If you take anything, like anything we do, just imagine it being 1,000 times easier. And then try to imagine what would we do with how would it change if it were 1,000 times easier? So like taking pictures. You go,
yeah.
Nobody ever took pictures of their food back then. It was like first of all, it'd be grainy and not very appetizing. Second, you only get like 24 pictures in a roll, and then you have to go through that whole rigmarole to go take it in and pay. You got to pay for the film, and then you got to pay to get the film developed, and then you got to do something with the physical picture. You're like, I ain't wasted it on food, right? And then you go, well, what if it were free to take pictures? What would you take pictures of? I mean, besides your dick. Well,
I think we did that when we had to pay for film, though.
Well,
there's a roll of film somewhere.
I never did. I never did because I always had this. I didn't want the people at Walgreens or wherever, seeing pictures of my dick.
You didn't want to embarrass them?
I didn't want to embarrass them. I didn't want to make them feel bad because I'm an altruist that way.
I told my oldest today the story of the infamous the infamous Sunday morning steak and eggs incident. She about died.
You probably ought to tell our listeners.
Well,
so go ahead.
We come down to visit you, and we had in typical fashion, we had a serious party that night. And the next morning, everybody decided to go out for breakfast, and I was hungover as fuck. And
Lafayette was only like an hour to an hour and a half from where I grew up.
Right.
Where my parents were living.
Right.
So they would just pop down on a Sunday for breakfast.
Like the time your brothers showed up when we were all hung. We were all done when you were at Rose Holman down in Terre Haute.
Yeah,
and I opened the door, and your brother's on the other side of the door. I just shut the door.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we decided we went to this like breakfast joint, and it was some kind of converted Taco Bell or something, if I remember right. And I got my steak and eggs, and I'm hungover, and I'm barely holding on to my utensils, and I'm carving the fat off of my, rangy piece of steak. And like I finally got the piece just like I wanted it, and as I'm bringing it up to my mouth, my fork flipped out of my hand and fell to the floor, and I just went, God damn it! And I looked up, and your mom is just like slack-jawed. She's like, on a Sunday morning, and you threw me under the bus. You're like, you're going to hell. and Constance was trying to cut into my defense. She's like, I watched you. You labored. You put a lot of effort into that piece of meat. I probably would have done it too. So yeah, that would have been a long ride home with your parents.
On a Sunday morning.
Your mom would have been like, now I'm not going to tell your mom what you said.
Gene, guess what Paul said? All right. Well, hey, So there's a new Star Wars movie out called Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Have you seen it yet?
Yeah, yet. As a matter of fact, I have.
We took the kids to see it like not long after it came out. Because they loved. We took them to see the Star Wars episode, whatever. I can't keep track. 9. What are we up to now? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, right?
Yeah. It will be 7. Yes.
Yeah. So we took them to see that, and they absolutely loved it, even though they had no idea what was going on. And then we took them to see Rogue One, and they still had no idea what was going on, but they loved that one too. I'm having trouble remembering it. I mean, I kind of remember, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one, they went to that planet, and there was a planetary shield, right? And they had to get through the gate, right? Which is pretty advanced technology. You know, this is one of the things I think about with Star Wars. Like, we've now spanned well over, 75 years in the Star Wars universe? From episode 1 to episode 7? Ish?
40 years.
40 years.
Yeah, we've spent
really?
Exactly 40 years.
In Star Wars time.
Well, in real time, in our time, yes.
No, I don't mean in Earth time. I mean in Star Wars time. The episode 1 with, look, Anakin Skywalker was a little boy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, spoiler alert, everybody. Then we go through Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then Darth Vader dies, and then 30 years later, we have Star Wars. What was episode 7 called?
7 was Rehash New Hope. I think is what it was called.
No, but what was it called? It was called The Force Awakens.
Yes. Wait. Was that it? Yeah, yes, because it was asleep for a while, and then it woke up.
I really feel like that I'm talking to someone who doesn't know much about Star Wars.
Well, no, if you were to ask me anything from New Hope to Jedi, I would fucking nail that shit chapter and verse.
I find your lack of Star Wars knowledge disturbing. That's my best James Earl Jones impression.
It was spot on.
So Star Wars has spanned, I'm going to go ahead and give it 50 years. Because let's say Anakin grows up. Anakin's a kid. Anakin grows up, becomes Darth Vader. Let's say he makes it to 20 to 25 years old before he's killed by his son, Luke. And then 30 years later, you get The Force Awakens, right? So that's 55 to 60 years of time, right? But if you look at the technology from the beginning through to like the point where we are now, it's barely moved. I mean, we barely have had, you can make the argument, you can say, well, they built the Death Star, and then they built a bigger Death Star, and then they built a thing that could destroy like all the planet. Like, they made a thing that could destroy a planet, then they made a bigger thing that could destroy a planet. Why it needed to be bigger, I'm not sure. If all it was going to do is the same thing, but bigger's better, I guess. Then they made a thing not much bigger that could destroy all the planets in one solar system. I suppose next we're going to have something that can destroy a galaxy. I don't know what they'll do in the next one. But my point is they are using all the same technology to do these things, right? And if you bring it down to everyday life, I guess that's what I'm talking about. Sure, there probably had to be some technological leaps to be able to fire a weapon many, many hundreds of light years and have it happen not only happen instantaneously, but have the people who are in the proximity of the weapon actually see it happen.
Right.
Almost simultaneously. It's like somehow they got light to travel that fast.
Right.
So that's technology right there, but it didn't translate down, to the common man. I mean, when we made it to the moon, we got all sorts of technology like Tang, freeze-dried camping food. I mean, there was a lot of impact on our daily lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in Star Wars, it seems like, wow, the best weapon that a Jedi can have is a lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
And then fast forward, and they go, well, the best weapon that a Jedi could have is a lightsaber with a little cross thingy on it. Like, that's not new technology. That's just like taking two lightsabers and putting them together. I mean, where is the advanced technology? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I totally get
Am
it.
I missing something? Why don't they advance the technology? If you look here, look at 60 years ago compared to now.
Well, but the argument I have against that is, okay, in Rogue One, all the information that was possibly available about the Death Star fit on one floppy disk. That's some pretty fucking advanced technology. They didn't have no
disk.
They didn't have a thumb drive or put this in.
My thought on that was, well, okay, you raise a good point, and I did have that thought after seeing Rogue One. I remember thinking how they did manage to make the technology look 30 years older or however much older, because it's like, oh, we have to break into the mainframe and find our way to the thing, and then we got to plug this disk in and download everything to the disk, and then and I'm going, why not just like hack in over the internet? And then so I get good point taken. I stand corrected. Like by the time we get later on, I mean, they're probably not using floppy disks anymore. That's pretty funny. So what did you think of Rogue One in general, though?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was, although I couldn't really get invested in any of the characters, I enjoyed it tremendously. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was very, it was like watching, what if the people that made like Born Identity made a Star Wars movie? It was very real, very real, I mean, yeah. All the settings were, were practical, and the characters were very real. And I have man love for Donnie Yen, who plays the blind Jedi. I thought he was fucking fantastic in that movie. I thought the chick whose name escapes me was great. I don't know. I thought it was a really good. I thought it was better than Force Awakens because it wasn't a rehash of New Hope. It wasn't as bright and sparkly as New Hope, and it kind of followed the and the fact that it leads it leads up to like 10 seconds before New Hope begins. I thought was perfect. I enjoyed it tremendously.
That was pretty cool. And okay, well, thank you for that. Join us 6 months from now when we're going to review some movie that just came out recently.
Yeah, we'll review the Logan Wolverine movie in 6 months.
Oh yeah, we previewed that one a couple of weeks ago, didn't we?
Yes.
You know what we haven't done yet, and we're almost halfway through the show?
What haven't we done?
We haven't done a Facebook question of the day. Should we do one?
Yeah. How about
favorite sci-fi movie?
Yeah. Let's just do favorite Star Wars favorite sci-fi movie. For some reason that eludes me, some people don't like Star Wars.
You posted on your Facebook page.
All right. And favorite sci-fi movie. Go. So how about some headlines?
Headlines, check and see. We'll interpret them irresponsibly. Come on, baby, don't read the article. It's headlines, headlines. This first one comes to us from, let's see, where did I get this one? Oh, the BBC. Of course.
Wait, the what?
The apparently a Canadian couple has won the lottery for a third time. 3 times. That's one of those things. You always see those ads like on the clickbait sites.
Mm-hmm.
It says, here's the secret of people who have won the lottery 9 times. 9 times. Well, it makes the news if somebody wins twice.
Mm-hmm.
It really makes the news when somebody wins 3 times. So I really, if there's any, it's like, here's what we should do. This is sort of like a thing that Kramer and Newman would do. We should drive up to Canada, wherever these people have been buying their tickets, and we should just buy a whole shit ton of tickets.
But honestly, how much did they win each time though? That's what I'm curious about. Because I know, dude, I know people that have won like $1,000.
The first 2 times it was like around $100,000 to $200,000.
Mm-hmm.
The third time it was like $4 or $5 million, maybe 6.
So wouldn't it make sense then if you say you win the lottery and you win 100,000 or whatever? Wouldn't it make sense then to take a certain percentage of those winnings and start a lottery investment program to keep the cash flow coming in?
No. Though you are onto something. What you could do is write a book. Actually, if I won the lottery twice, even if it was only like $100,000 or something,
mm-hmm.
The way I would turn that into a fortune is I'd write a book. Here's the guy who won the lottery. It's like, I won the lottery twice, and I'm going to tell you how I did it. And the whole book will be bullshit,
mm-hmm.
right? But I'd make a ton of money on it because, the suckers would be buying the book thinking I had some kind of secret.
The final chapter would be play the lottery again. All I know is they should just never, ever, ever, ever go outside.
That is true. They do say that you're 7 times more likely to be struck by lightning than winning the lottery. So they're due about 21 lightning strikes.
A friend of mine got struck by lightning when he was like 14 years old. And I always asked him, why didn't you play the lottery after that?
Well, I mean, he'd have to be struck by lightning 6 more times.
Yeah.
Well, that dude, I told you about the toothless guy that did my driveway that won the lottery, won $1 million twice.
Yes.
They asked him what he was going to do with the money. The second time, the news interviewed him, what are you going to do with the money? I'm going to buy a motorcycle. They're like, really? I would think, a lot of people do a lot of other stuff. He's like, what? The first $1 million, I already paid off my house, my parents' house, already paid off all our credit cards and all that stuff. And I wanted to buy a motorcycle. My wife said if I won the lottery again, I could buy a motorcycle.
You know what I love? The fact that getting his teeth fixed never occurred to him.
Yeah, that wasn't on the list. Well, that would be weird. I mean, the guy, for all of his quirks, at least he had a sense of style. I mean, how weird would it look to have scraggly hair, wrinkled, like yellowing, nicotine-stained skin, bloodshot eyes, and perfect teeth? One of the things about style that people don't understand is consistency.
That's true. I mean,
That's why Johnny Depp wears like 18 scarves. I mean, you can't walk around wearing a weird beanie and not have a whole shit ton of scarves. All right, this next headline Also from Gib, vegan restaurant raises a ruckus with baby milk policy. So this one sounds to me like either women aren't allowed to. Oh, I wonder if it's this. Women aren't allowed to feed their babies breast milk in this vegan restaurant because technically breast milk is an animal product.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, according to the rules, we can't investigate the article any further than this. So, yeah, I'm
so if you're a vegan, so by extension, just extrapolating off of this, if you're interested in certain kinds of oral sex, you should never date a vegan, because if human excrement is considered animal product, then they would not be allowed to consume anything that was produced by an animal, including a human.
I honestly don't care if they consume it or just wear it.
Wear it.
I'm good either way.
She's like, I don't wear fur. I'm not wearing that either.
Or as Adam Carolla once pointed out, you don't have to even swallow it. Just leave the room and come back and pretend you swallowed it. We feel good.
Do whatever you want with it. I don't care what you do with it. Just, It's true. Yeah, but that's weird. I mean, what if obviously if the woman is vegan and she's visiting this vegan restaurant, she must be a vegan. It seems like the breast milk would be vegan. The only other thing I can figure is maybe it's cow milk. But I mean, who the hell cares at that point, right? It's a baby.
All I can figure at this point, without having read the article, is this restaurant does not like to make money. Because if I was sitting there and I had my baby and like I pull out, whether it's a bottle of cow milk out of my big diaper bag, or my own, milk,
flask of rum.
Yeah, or flask of rum. If I were a woman, if I were my own milk, and you went, oh no, yeah, you can't do that because, you're a mammal and animal and you create. I would be out that fucking door, like you wouldn't believe. Because I would just be like, nope, sorry, done. I would leave my tit hanging out the entire time I was walking out that door. You don't want my business. I'm out.
My tit would be hanging out, and I'd be squeezing it to make milk.
I would be.
All over the place.
They would have to call in like a hazmat team. There'd be titty milk everywhere. I would just be like, they're trying to talk to me. I'm like, psst, psst, like squirting it like at their face. Psst.
That reminds me of the. Have you ever seen Portlandia?
Yes.
Oh God, I laughed my ass off at that show. But the lesbian bookstore that's in there, that's actually an actual bookstore, a women's bookstore spelled with a Y, in Portland, right? And at first, they filmed the thing there, and the women that owned it thought it was great. It's like, this is cool. We get to get our message out there. But then, a few episodes, in, when they realized they were actually being made fun of. And what made them realize it is their business. First of all, their business skyrocketed. Like tons of people are like showing up at the store and they're making money hand over fist. And then they start realizing it's ironic money, right? Like the Africans have blood diamonds. We have ironic money here because people are going there and spending money ironically because Portlandia makes fun of them, right? And so they shut it down. They're like, no, you can't film here anymore. So it's the whole we don't like money thing, right?
That is ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't care what cause you have. Whatever cause you have, it can be benefited by money. And as long as it's not money that somebody's killing somebody for, I mean, come on.
Well, that's like when I set up at a convention, typically on a Friday. Say it's the convention lasts the whole weekend. Sundays typically are the days that all the other dealers and publishers and various whoever's setting up exhibitors will go around and buy stuff off of other dealers, exhibitors, and publishers. And I'll walk around because I'm doing it. I'm out and I'm buying stuff. And I'll talk to a couple of publishers, and they'll be like, "Yeah, the only person I'm selling to today are other exhibitors." I'm like, "Who the fuck cares who you're selling it to? You've just sold that book, you know." So the idea of ironic money. Oh no, we don't want money. No, our standards are too high. Well, guess what? You could either exist in the world where you make money because a show spotlights your bookstore, or you could not make money because you decided to rebel against the show that is spotlighting your bookstore. And then when you look at Portlandia covers like what we do on our show is we pretty much will like lampoon and joke and make fun of everything, including ourselves.
Yes.
So they're not singling out the bookstore.
I think the general rule of thumb, and this is why I like Portlandia, and this is, I think, our general rule of thumb, is we will make fun of anybody who, in our opinion, takes themselves too goddamn seriously.
Mm-hmm. And we make fun of ourselves. Us. Yes, when we start taking ourselves way too seriously, we will make fun of ourselves.
Yep. The only thing I will not joke about is masturbation, because it's very important to me.
That is some serious shit right there.
That's right. I don't kid about masturbation. But other than that, everything else is on the table. So.
Nothing he says about masturbation is a joke. It's
I know. Everybody's like, right now, everybody's going back to all the older episodes going, really? Did he actually? And they're going back, like, flipping through the pages going, holy shit. I see everything in a new light now that I know he wasn't joking.
You're like an M. Night Shyamalan of masturbation.
That's right.
People are going back and watching old episodes. All the clues were right there. He's not joking.
Oh,
what a twist!
I can't even think of. Oh my god, that's funny. I'm the M. Night Shyamalan of masturbation. All right, well, we should probably move on before we get ourselves in trouble. All right, this one is from TMZ, so you know it's important. Suge Knight's ex, Sharitha Golden, says, "I didn't kill Tupac. I'm ready to sue anyone who says I did."
That means
part of me would. I'm like, before I read this headline, I had no idea who Sharitha Golden was, and I'd totally forgotten about Tupac being killed, and that Suge Knight was ever relevant. And so, I think this headline could say, Suge Knight's ex, Sharitha Golden, "I'm running out of money, and I need a way to get back in the news."
Dude, you took the words right out of my mouth. That's where I was headed with that.
It comes with a video. Maybe she does say that in the video. Let's check out the video and see what this is all about.
You know, I'm so damn sick of getting 100,000 calls about this. No way in hell I would have murdered Tupac. For what reason? This ridiculous theory that I needed to get half a death row, and I already had half a death row, America. You know, and
I think we're America.
Died, what did death row become after that? Zero, nothing, a downfall. I've been going through this for about 20 years with my oldest daughter that me and Shook have together. About all her high school years, she got, "Oh, your dad killed Tupac. Your dad killed Tupac." It's sad when a person can't even put pictures of their dad on their social media because they get so many negative response.
So sad.
And now here it goes. The media done put bull crap out about I didn't kill Tupac now. I have young kids that go to school that now got to hear, oh, your mom killed Tupac. Let's stop being ridiculous. I'm not one for lawsuits and giving people relevance to any stupidity, but this one deserves my attention real good. It big time deserve
it. Okay, my first question.
She gets 100,000 phone calls.
Okay, she has kids who tell her that other kids ask if her mom killed Tupac. I'm willing to bet that her kids are in private school. And I'm willing to bet they have no idea who Tupac even is.
Even if they're in public school, I bet they don't know who Tupac is. They're like, is that one of Kanye's backup dancers? Who's that?
And who the fuck cares? Honestly. Do they in the rap community, do they carry that big of a grudge that it's like, you had Dr. King, Malcolm X, Tupac.
She done killed Tupac. I think I'm forgetting my rap history, but it was the West Coast, East Coast, right? So Biggie Shorty was supposed to have killed Tupac, right? Little B.I.G. Notorious Shorty, Biggie Shorty. Notorious.
Biggie Shorty, no way.
Dirty D. Dirty D
don't kill Tupac.
Biggie Shorty. I ain't killed
Dirty
Tupac.
D, you are a bad chemical.
You're a baddie, daddy, zippy kind caddy. She's like, just cause a woman put a knife in a man's heart and his heart stops beating and he dies, you think she done murdered him? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think Notorious B.I.G. or Big Daddy or whoever, I think, was supposed to have killed Tupac. And then Suge Knight killed somebody. There was a lot of killing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have never heard that Suge Knight's wife or baby daddy or whatever, baby mama, was supposed to have killed Tupac. Never have heard that in my life. And so I thought she probably went to a lawyer and said, can I bring up that my husband was supposed to have killed Tupac? He's like, no, that's not really defamation against you. They would have to be accusing you of killing. And then she's like, oh, okay. Well, how do I get him to do that? Like somebody with some money. Because I can't go suing internet trolls. They ain't got no money. That's why they're internet trolls. I need somebody who don't live in their mama's basement with their shorts around their ankles trolling the internet. He's like, well, you could make a video. And sometimes that'll draw them out. So anyway, I don't know. I don't know who killed Tupac. All I know, it's a damn shame. I tell you what, you know who never got mixed up in all that? Wu-Tang.
Why didn't Wu-Tang get mixed up in that?
Because Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. Everybody knows that. I done told you. Let's check in on our Facebook question of the week.
So the question is, favorite sci-fi movie? Go. See, Jim McLean says Forbidden Planet, not including Star Trek or Star Wars. That makes total sense for him. Dave Stanley says this is an impossible question. He wins.
I haven't seen that movie.
Jack Herman, who was the co-creator of the Villains and Vigilantes role-playing game, says, I'll go with Colossus, the Forbin Project, which is a really great movie. My sister Swan says, my childhood.
That was sci-fi?
Well, she had me and Bud as her brothers, so yes, that was sci-fi. See, Ken Collison says Blade Runner, the 77 Star Wars, and Forbidden Planet.
I get Blade Runner confused with The Fifth Element because they both had Bruce Willis.
Wait, what? What Blade Runner did you see?
You know, the one where he gets in that car, like the Johnny Cab or whatever it's called. Then they cut off the air.
No, that was
Fifth Element, right? The girl with the
no, give the people the air. No,
she was wearing like surgical tape for her dress, right?
Right.
And like as he was trying to get through airport security, he turned into this fat, like big fat woman, like right in front of their eyes. Right? Am I thinking of the right movie?
Okay, Fifth Element and Blade Runner are two totally different movies.
Right, but I get them confused.
Okay.
Like one of them, he's trying to help this girl escape, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the other one, he doesn't realize he's actually an android, which ties into something we talked about earlier, the M. Night Shyamalan, where he didn't realize he was actually a ghost.
I see dead people.
Yeah. How do you know? How can you tell the difference between a droid and a replicate and a real person?
Let's see. Okay, MP chimes in with 2001, which I have to agree with him on that one. Uncle Carl chimes in with Star Wars and the 1953 War of the Worlds. Kill Bill Tibbles chimes in with The Last Starfighter because he was, he didn't make it out of the 80s.
I liked that movie.
Why's that?
And I was just telling my kids about that movie recently because I thought it was really clever. How they took the whole fantasy aspect of video games, right? Mm-hmm. Like when we play these video games, we like want to be immersed in them, and the quality of the video games at the time of Last Starfighter movie wasn't that great, but still, you'd get immersed in it, and you just want it to be real,
right?
And so I just really liked the fantasy aspect of it, like the fantasy fulfillment aspect.
Right. Of course, my brother Harold chimes in with Amazon women on the moon.
Right. That was that one about Jeff Bezos, right? Starting a bookstore, an online bookstore.
I don't think so.
Okay. There's a lesbian bookstore on the moon.
Lesbian Bookstore on the Moon is the latest Beck album.
Hey, what's your favorite sci-fi movie?
I'll have to go with Star Wars New Hope. Only because there are other movies that are like great science fiction movies, but the thing about Star Wars New Hope is people of our generation, we measure time in two ways. There is before Star Wars and after Star Wars. There's no I could go with 2001, which is a fantastic movie, but the movie that changed everything on how we viewed everything was in fact the 1977 Star Wars.
Would you like to know what my favorite sci-fi movie is?
This is called revenge for all the times you never asked me. Sure. Oh, wait, hold on. Hey, Steve.
Yeah.
What's your favorite sci-fi movie of all time?
Oh, gosh. Thanks for asking. I haven't really thought about it. But I would have to say Total Recall.
Get your ass to Mars. I assume you mean the 1980s Total Recall and not the more recent one.
I pretty much no recent reboot to me, has been better than any of the originals.
I did enjoy the reboot of Total Recall, but was it better?
Was all right.
It was not. Certainly wasn't better.
No. But it was all right. But yeah, the original Arnold Schwarzenegger pulling that giant camera booger out of his nose. That was good. That had everything I need from a sci-fi movie.
Yes.
So, and with that, I think we're up against it on time.
Well, should we let our listeners know what's going to happen in the very near future?
Turns out that those of you who have been listening since the beginning are probably wondering, where's the giant birthday extravaganza? Because Steve recently turned 48. Paul is currently 48 and will very soon turn 49.
Mm-hmm.
So where's the damn live birthday extravaganza? Well, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. And we're going to record it in a week or so. So within 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to release the 2017 birthday extravaganza.
Something tells me it will be a double-sized extravaganza. I'm just throwing that out
We've tried that in the past, and we've not yet successfully recorded 2 shows in one sitting.
This is true.
But I do remember last year, we got done, and we had Uncle Carl, we had Andy, we had Mrs. D, we had Mrs. Steve, and they were all like, "Oh, that was so fun! That was so much fun! Let's do another one." And you and I looked at each other. We're like, "No, it won't work. No, come on, let's do it." And we're like, "Okay, fine," but it probably will not be usable. And sure enough.
Maybe we should do. Okay, we'll just let the wives take over after we pass out.
Right, they can do the show. Welcome to the Don't Panic Radio Show. I'm Constance Benson. Sitting right over there is Mrs. D. Nothing you are about to hear is true, because that's exactly what she sounds like. You know what we could do? Start recording before we have too many drinks. Like, we could start like just like we've started doing now. It's like, everybody sit down, we're gonna start recording.
Yeah, as soon as you guys walk in the door, I'm just gonna start recording.
Plug in my microphone, hit record, and just tell everybody we just want to get the first show out of the way. Everybody sit your ass down. Shit's about to get real. All right.
Mm-hmm. We have a couple late entries.
All right, let's hear them.
John Hutchison says, Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, Blade Runner, and oh, I forgot about this one.
I think Road Warrior was that might have beat out Total Recall, actually.
Yeah, Road Warrior was great.
Yeah, it was.
But he also listed The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai.
That was a good one.
Yes, it really was. It was one of those classics that only the best people ever saw. Yes. And Superman James comes in with Superman James comes in with Galaxy Quest, or is it Starship Troopers?
Perfect. He's probably sitting in the other room typing
like have you seen the Kermit the Frog at the typewriter?
Yeah, exactly. SFJ, are you coming to bed soon? You're waking up the baby. SFJJ is trying to get some sleep. We just call him Junior. All right. On a more serious note, head on over to don'tpanicradioshow.com. You can still go to doitindieradiohour.com because they have some nice recordings of live music over there that you can listen to.
They should be. They got a couple more weeks and they'll restart their regular show, if I remember right.
who knows? Last I heard, Tolan's missing. You know how every once in a while you hear like an old man will wander out of a nursing home and he just is walking down the freeway? That's what I heard about Tolan. He just wandered out of his house.
We need like what was it in the 80s? It was let's go get Harry. Let's go get Tolan.
It's like get Tolan to the Greek.
Get Tolan to the Greek. or get Shorty.
Hello, love.
Just get Tolan.
Get Tolan. Get Tolan to the Grove House. But you can still go over there. I mean, he's wandering. He's like in the median of 465 on the east side, like going northbound in the southbound lane, with his pants down around his ankles and he's sucking his thumb. But in spite of that, they're still putting out weekly recordings. So head on over there, check it out. You won't regret it. But before you do that, go to don'tpanicradioshow.com. Give us some love. Tell a friend. Tell an enemy. Tell Paul. I don't care who you tell. Just tell somebody, because we love you. For Paul Schultz, I'm Steve Vinson, and nothing you just heard was true.
Oh, bullshit.